Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another amazing tutorial. So these are the things I'm starting with. I'm starting with my ruler, my scissors, that tab, my measuring tape. That tab there, I just typed down my measurement because I wasn't feeling well, and for some funny reason I couldn't just keep my measurement in my head. So the first thing I did was I folded my fabric into two, folded the desired width I wanted, and when I was done with that, I cut through to have a working piece. So I just cut out the fabric I wanted on a fold. When I was done cutting, from the top of my fabric I measured out 36 inches, and this is the length of the trouser. The length of my trouser is 36 inches. I took my time to do this because I didn't want my trouser to be long on one side and short on the other side, so you might want to take your time when you're doing this. Very, very important. When I was done with that, I went ahead to use my scissors to cut out my working piece. So this is my working piece. From the top of the fabric, I measured out 1 inch, and I did this because I wanted to create a slant around the waist upwards. You will see where I did this along the tutorial. But across the entire length of the fabric, I measured 1 inch. When I was done with that, I used my ruler and I connected my markings together into a straight line. So from the top of my fabric, I marked 9 inches for my crotch. I marked 9 inches for my crotch, and from the center of my fabric, I marked 3 inches. Then I connected my markings together. When I was done with that, I drew a slanted line to form my crotch. That's my crotch curve. So from the top of my fabric, I marked 8 inches for my hips. From that marked 1 inch point, I marked 8 inches for my hips. And I also marked 10 inches for my crotch line. Now some people mark 10 inches for their crotch line, but me, I marked 9 inches for my crotch and mark 10 inches for my crotch line. Some people just do 10 for both, but this is what I do. So when I was done marking that out, I drew a straight line to show where my crotch line is. So from the center of my piece, after I've marked out the crotch, I took my waist measurement. Now whatever measurement I used here, I added 1 inch extra. So my waist is 7, is 14 divided by 4 gives me 7. So here I marked 8 inches. So from the center as well, from that point I marked 11 inches for my hips. My hips is 40 divided by 4 is 10, but plus 1 inch allowance, that is 11. So from the marked 1 inch point, I extended my tape downwards and I marked 19. So 19 is my nail measurement, where my nail is supposed to be. My nail length rather, or my nail point. So from that point, I marked 1.5 inch from the center of the fabric. Then I went to the hem of the fabric and I marked 2 inches. I used my ruler and I connected the lines together. Now this line is not a straight line, it's rather a slanted line. So this is what I did here. I just connected it with a ruler. I noticed that I worked more with my smaller ruler than my big ruler. Like that big ruler gives me lots of issues, but I need it for specific measurements. So what I do is I mark with my big ruler, then I go over with it with my small ruler. So that's what I did here. So from that point, I marked the circumference of my thigh at 14 inches plus 1 inch, that is 15. Now the circumference of my thigh is 24, divided by 2 gives me 14, plus 1 inch is 15. So I marked 15 inches at that crouch line. And for my nail cap, I marked 9 inches because the circumference of my nail is 16 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance, that is 9 inches. And I went to the hem. The circumference of my ankle is 10 inches. At that point I marked 6 inches. That's 5 inches for, which is the normal length, plus 1 inch seam allowance. Or when you're sewing a trouser, you don't add so much allowance, because trouser is not like you don't add so much allowance. So when I was done with that, I just connected my markings with my ruler.
Guys, I don't understand my camera, or like that's cut me short 2 times today. So anyways, remember I made a straight line here. And because around my hips I'm going to raise it up a bit. So what I just did was I took out 1 inch from the top before I drew this waistline. What I just did here was I sort of drew a curve. I drew a curve up this way before I went ahead to cut the crouch or the flap, and I cut the entire body of the trousers. Like, I don't know why my camera is doing this to me today, but I have enough memory, so that was what I did there. Before I just went ahead to cut out the outline from the shape I have marked out. Now I'm going to go over to marking the back part of this trousers.
Now this is the back piece. I've already folded my fabric into 2, and what I did here was I just laid the front part on the already folded piece, smoothened it out, then I traced the center part and cut out the outline. While I was doing that, I used the opportunity to cut out the excess fabric I don't need. When I was done with that, I notched the crouch curve because of the next measurements I would need to take. Then I shifted my front piece backwards. Because of the butt and the largeness of the butt and how it's sort of, you know, for the butt there's an increment in the back, so you need extra inches to accommodate the size and the width and the hugeness of the butt. So that is why from the center of my fabric I'm taking 2.5 inches. Some people take 3 inches, but I took 2.5. And around the hem I marked 1.5 inch. Some people take 2 inches at that point, but I took 1.5. And I adjusted it to the 1.5 mark. I made sure everything was precise. I didn't want mistakes. So, you know, for the front part of the trouser there is no dart, but for the back part there's always dart. So I marked 1.5 inches forward, and from that point I just connected it to my notched crouch curve. That place I notched around the crouch curve, I just connected the 1.5 inch from the top and I drew the crouch curve along that side. Do you understand? Yeah. So I measured what my crouch curve was, and from the top I added 2 inches. This is because the butt is big and you can't just use the front measurement for the back, because there's nothing in front. It's the back that has the bum bum, so you have to add 2 inches or 2.5 inches. I added 2.5 inches to accommodate the wideness and the bigness, whatever it is, of the butt. So what I did was, when I marked that, I just drew a slanted line and I connected it to the waistline of the front part. So when I was done with that, I just followed my measurement and the outline I've created to cut out the back part. I think the only tricky place to cut when it comes to trousers is the back part. The front part is so easy to cut. So I cut the hem, I cut the sides as well. Till I got to the waistline. So this is what it looks like. Like, this is a very simple way to cut your female trouser in no time. Like, it's a very detailed process. I think this is the easiest method I could formulate for you guys, and this is one I even followed myself and I like. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you have not, and do come back for more videos.